والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Ikhwan, as we finish the burial of our brother, and at this point the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to say to his companions, ask thabat for your brother, ask for firmness for your brother within his grave, for innahu al-ana yus'al, because indeed he is now to be questioned. When we reflect upon the likes of that statement, and we are here, Ikhwan, present, witnessing the burial of our brother, and we see the graves that are around us, it is something for each and every one of us to reflect upon as it relates to ourselves. Because our reality, Ikhwan, as some of the Salaf used to say, as some of the earliest pious predecessors used to say, that the one who passes by a graveyard and he does not reflect upon himself, neither does he reflect upon those who are buried within the grave, then he has been treacherous to himself and treacherous to those in the grave. As far as those who are in the grave, then they are in need of our dua, and they are in need of our supplication. We do not make dua to them, they need our dua. And that, brothers and sisters, is a reality that Allah Azza wa Jal has instilled, and He gave and sent His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to convey. That the reality, brothers and sisters, of each and every one of us, brothers, is that the life of this world is one that ends, Ikhwan, here. And if this is not sufficient enough for us to reflect upon in relation to ourselves, if it is not sufficient that we witness and that we observe the burial of one of our dear beloved ones, the one that is close to us, the one that we knew and the one that we love dearly, if it is not sufficient for us to reflect upon ourselves, then nothing will make us reflect upon our own realities. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned and informed us of the reality of every individual that is alive. And then Allah Azza wa Jal decrees that his life is to be taken. He said that indeed the mayyit, the one that has passed away, yatba', his grave or his funeral procession is followed by three things: his actions, his family, and his mal, his wealth. He said, فَيَرْجِعْ إِثْنَانِ, and so two things return and go back. His family returns and they leave him. His wealth returns and leaves him. And some of the scholars mention his wealth following him, since in the days of old, part of the wealth of an individual would be his slaves and his servants. And so they follow the funeral procession and they return with the rest of the family. And وَيَبْقَى وَاحِدٌ, and one thing remains with him, and that is his actions. Every single one of us, Ikhwan, this will be our reality. This is the reality of each and every one of us. That we're alive in this dunya, that we live in the dunya. And when we live, Ikhwan, we are heedless of our own reality, heedless of the fact that our time is short, heedless of the fact that we're rapidly moving towards the day that we'll be buried, the day that this will be us, the day that each and every one of us shall be placed into the earth, and the brothers will be around us, and from them will be our family members, and some will make dua for us, and some will be sad at our disappearance and that loss. And that loss, brothers and sisters, will be remembered and they will make dua. But our reality, Ikhwan, is that we will be within that grave alone. And the Prophet ﷺ, mentioned that when our souls are taken, when the souls of the deceased are taken, if he's a righteous man, then that man, his soul be taken like water leaving a water skin. And then his soul will be brought into the heavens. And as the soul is brought into the heavens, the angels, they will say, who was this righteous soul, this good soul? Who is this sweet smelling soul? And the angels, they will say that he is such and such, the son of such and such. And they will mention him by the best of his names. They will mention him by the best of his characteristics. And then permission will be sought to enter the heavens, and permission will be granted. And it will be said, write his name in Illiyin, the register of the righteous. That name, that individual, his name will be inscribed in Illiyin, the register of the righteous, and then his soul is returned to his body while he's in the grave. And as we're present here, Ikhwan, it is a reality that our messenger mentioned, Ikhwan, and it will occur. And it is possibly occurring as we speak. that the affair, ikhwan, is that his soul will be returned and he'll be made to sit up. And he will be asked 3 questions within his grave. Man rabbuk, ma dinuk, wa man hada al-rajul alladhi ursila ilayk. Who was your Lord and what was your religion and who was that man that was sent to you? And the mu'min, the believer, he will say, my Lord is Allah. My religion was Islam and that man was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it will be said to him, rest, rest. And a door to Jannah will be opened to him. And that door will bring forward breeze from and beautiful fragrance from the fragrance of Jannah. And a beautiful looking man will be presented before him, will come to him with beautiful garments and a beautiful fragrance. And he will say, who are you? You are beautiful. And he will say, indeed, I am your righteous deeds. I am your righteous actions. And so he will say, oh Allah, hasten the day, hasten the day. But if it was a wretched man, if it was an evil man, then the Prophet ﷺ, he said that his soul be removed and stripped from his body by the angel of death. Just as a skewer, yani that utensil that has points, if it was pulled through wet wool, the difficulty that occurs. And when it is pulled through that wool, it is ripped, it rips through the wool, and that is how the soul will be removed from the body of an evil man, of a wretched man. And then that body will have a putrid fragrance, a stench. And the angels will say, who is this evil soul? For indeed it has a stench, and they will name him by the worst of his names. And then permission will be sought to enter the heavens, and it will not be granted to him. And it will be said, return that soul and write his name in Sijjin. And that is the register for the evil souls. And then that soul will return to the body. It will be made to sit up and visited by the same angels. And when he is asked those 3 questions, he will say each time, la adri. La adri. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know each time. Because our responding to those questions is not based upon that which we knew. It is based upon how we used to live. It is based upon our reality. It is based upon the state of our hearts. And therefore preparation for this day is of a must, is essential for each and every one of us. Preparation for the day, ikhwan, that this will be us. That this will be our reality. That we will be present in the grave and our brothers and family will bury us. And those who knew us and loved us, they will be present for a while. But then they will leave us. And we'll be alone in that grave. And when we're alone in that grave, how will you answer? How will your responses be? How will you respond to those angels? Will you respond in a manner, ikhwan, that will necessitate that beautiful answer, rest? Will you receive that beautiful man with the fragrance? Will the angels praise you? And if each and every one of us is honest with ourselves, we should ask ourselves, why should that be me? Why should that be my reality? Why should that occur to me? Why? What have I done? How have I been as it relates to what Allah Azza wa Jal has commanded me? How have I been as it relates to the deed of Allah? How have I been when I've been alone? How have I been when it comes to that which Allah Azza wa Jal has commanded me with? How have I been? Really? My own reality. Forget about what the people think about me. How have I been? Forget about what the people consider me. Forget about how I look. How have I really been? And if it is that tonight is the day of our death, if it is that it is this evening, or if it is in the morning, are we ready, ikhwan? Are we ready? Because we have one chance. We have one chance, ikhwan. One chance. And that one chance, the shaitan will want us. And the shaitan strives to make us destroy that chance, that we will join him. And that he will say on the day of judgment, Inna Allah wa'adakum wa'ada al-haq wa wa'adtukum fa akhlaftukum. That verily Allah promised you a true promise. And I promised you, but I broke my promise. And there was no authority, I had no authority over you, except that I commanded you and you listened to me. فَلَا تَلُومُونِ, so don't blame me, blame yourself. I can't save you and you can't save me. And that is why the day of Qiyamah is known as the day of regret. Because it is the day that each and every one of us, if we were not serious and honest with ourselves and true to Allah, that we would do nothing but regret will not benefit us. Regret will be of no aid to us. The only thing that will help us is how we were in the dunya. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal for His mercy. So as we stand, ikhwan, and as we leave, that we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive our brother, to have mercy upon him. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to guide us while we're still alive. Ameen. To guide us to our rushd and our correctness. Ameen. To continue to make dua for our loved ones and our deceased who passed away. That our dua, inshallah, will benefit them. That our dua will aid them. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make him from among those whose souls are written in Illiyeen, as we ask Allah for that for ourselves. But know, brothers and sisters, that it requires effort on our behalf. And it requires us taming our own souls. And it requires us learning and acting. Not no doubt, brothers and sisters, is something that can only come from you. Allah has blessed you to have some time. You still have some time. Let us use it well, ikhwan. Let's work on it, use it well. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى يوفقنا وإياكم لما يحبه ويرضاه وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد. Indeed, ikhwan, we continue to make dua for our brother, supplicate for our brother. We stay away from those things that were not prescribed as it relates to the janazah. Those things that were not prescribed and were not done by the companions and the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was not prescribed to recite the Quran over his grave. None of that is authentic, brothers and sisters. But what is prescribed is dua. What is prescribed is supplication for him. That we ask Allah to be merciful to him. That we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive him, to overlook him. That we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to plant his feet, make his feet firm when the angels question him. To bless him with the right response, to bless him with the correct answers. And that he makes his grave expansive. And that he blesses him with the fragrance of Jannah. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
How do you switch off?